The year was 2157. Captain James stood on the bridge of the UES Discovery, his eyes fixed on the massive space station ahead. The Galactic Council hub was unlike anything humans had ever built, a spinning wheel of gleaming metal with 12 spokes, each representing one of the major alien powers. "Are you ready, Captain?" asked his second-in-command, Officer Bill. James nodded, tugging at his uniform. "As ready as anyone can be to meet aliens who've been watching us for decades." The Discovery docked with a gentle thud. James led his small team, 5 diplomats and 3 security officers, through the airlock. The air smelled strange, like cinnamon and metal. The welcoming party consisted of tall, blue-skinned aliens with 4 arms. Their spokesman, called Wren, bowed slightly. "We welcome Earth to these proceedings," Wren said in perfect English, "though some question if humans are ready to join galactic society." James smiled politely. "We're quick learners." The council chamber was enormous. 12 different alien species sat at a round table. Some looked almost human. Others were nothing like anything on Earth: floating gas clouds, insect-like creatures, and beings made of what looked like living crystal. The head counselor, a reptilian being named Dax, looked down at the humans. "Your species is young, violent, unpredictable. Why should we grant you membership?" Dax asked. Before James could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. "We are under attack," a voice announced over speakers. "Hostile forces have breached Level 3. The council members looked at each other in panic. James caught whispers about Claw faction and terrorist attack. Dax stood. "We must evacuate. Security will handle this." One of the crystal beings spoke. "Security is overwhelmed. The attackers are using new technology that blocks our weapons." James stepped forward. "We can help." The aliens stared at him. "You? There are only 8 of you," said Dax. James nodded to his security team. "We're trained for combat, and sometimes new perspectives solve old problems." After brief discussion, the council accepted their help. James and his 3 security officers, Miller, Ray, and Don, grabbed their basic weapons and followed a council security team to Level 3. The scene was chaos. Masked attackers with energy weapons had pinned down the station's guards. 2 different alien security officers lay injured. "Their shields block energy weapons," explained the alien commander. "We cannot advance." Miller studied the situation. "Captain, those shields look like they work against energy, not physical force." James nodded. "Let's test that theory." To the alien's shock, the humans charged forward, using pieces of broken equipment as physical shields. Ray threw a metal container, which passed right through the attacker's energy shields, and knocked one down. "Physical projectiles," James shouted. "Use anything solid." The station security, following the humans' lead, began throwing objects and using improvised weapons. The tide turned quickly. During the fight, a stray shot hit Don in the arm. The alien commander expected him to retreat, but Don simply wrapped his wound with a torn piece of his uniform and continued fighting. "Your soldier is injured," the commander said to James. "He'll live," James replied, firing his weapon. "Humans can take damage and keep going." The battle lasted 20 minutes. When it ended, the attackers were captured or dead, and the station was secure. Later, bandaged but standing tall, James and his team returned to the council chamber. Dax looked at them differently now. "Your species fought bravely today. Your adaptability and resilience are unexpected traits." A gas cloud being floated forward. They improvised weapons. They sustained injuries, yet continued fighting. Most concerning. James heard the word concerning and smiled inside. Fear and respect often looked the same. "The Council grants Earth provisional membership," Dax announced, "though we have much to learn about each other." As they left the chamber, James overheard 2 aliens talking. "Did you see them fight? They didn't follow any standard combat doctrine." "Yes. Unpredictable. Dangerous. The galaxy should watch these humans carefully. James kept his face neutral, but a small smile formed on his lips. Humanity had made its first impression on the galaxy. It would not be forgotten. 5 years after first contact, Lieutenant Mark stood at attention on the bridge of the Stellar Guardian, the first joint human-alien military vessel. He was the only human among the command crew, serving as a combat advisor under Admiral Tull, a tall, gray-skinned alien with eyes that could see in all directions. Human, Tull said, not bothering to use Mark's name. Your presence here is a formality. Do not expect to give orders. Mark nodded. Understood. Admiral. Life aboard the Stellar Guardian wasn't easy. The other species, mainly Tull's people, the Vorn, and the insect-like clicked, kept their distance from the human. They followed strict, unchanging military rules that had worked for centuries. Until they didn't. The emergency signal blared while Mark was eating lunch. He rushed to the bridge. Mining Colony Outpost 7 is under attack, announced Tull. Pirates, the Dark Spine Gang. On the screen, Mark saw a small moon base surrounded by 5 attack ships. The pirates were forcing their way in. Standard protocol is to surround and demand surrender, said First Officer Garn, a clicked whose mandibles clicked as he spoke. Mark studied the screen. Sir, may I suggest an alternative? Tull's rotating eyes fixed on Mark. The Vorn have fought pirates for 300 years, human. What could you possibly suggest? The Dark Spine ships all face the base. None are watching their rear. If we came in fast from the dark side of the moon, we could disable their engines before they know we're here. The bridge fell silent. Such a tactic wasn't in any manual. Risky, unorthodox, Tull said finally. The miners will die if we wait, Mark said. Tull thought for a long moment. We will try your way, human. But if you fail... Mark nodded. I understand. The Stellar Guardian swung around the moon's dark side, engines running silent. They were nearly on top of the pirate ships before being detected. Fire, ordered Tull. Their weapons struck the unshielded engines of 3 pirate ships, but the remaining 2 turned quickly, firing back. A blast hit the Stellar Guardian's upper deck. Emergency alarms wailed. Fire in Section 8, reported Garn. Atmosphere venting. Seal it off, ordered Tull. Mark checked the ship layout on his screen. Sir, there are crew members trapped in that section. Unfortunate, but we cannot risk more lives, said Tull. Mark was already moving. I can get them out. The temperature is 200 degrees in there. Garn called after him. And radiation. Mark grabbed an emergency suit from the wall. Humans can handle it. The heat hit Mark like a wall even through his suit. The radiation meter blinked red warnings. He found 3 clicked crew members trapped behind fallen equipment. Follow me, he shouted, helping them clear the path. They reached the exit just as his suit began to melt. Once through the airlock, Mark collapsed. When he woke in the medical bay, Admiral Tull stood over him. The colony is safe. The pirates captured, Tull said. Your plan worked. Mark tried to sit up. And the crew I rescued. They will live. As will you somehow. Tull's multiple eyes blinked in sequence. Our medical officer says most species would have permanent damage from that radiation level. Mark smiled weakly. Humans are tough. So I see. Tull's voice had changed. There was new respect there. The Vorn do not change our ways easily, Mark. But perhaps there are things we can learn from humans. Word spread quickly. At the next port, alien crews stared at the human who had run into fire and radiation to save others. They whispered among themselves. Is it true what they say? That humans can keep fighting even while dying? I heard they don't follow any logical combat doctrine. They just improvise. The unpredictable apes, one veteran alien captain muttered. Heaven help you if you face them in battle. Mark pretended not to hear, but he smiled. The galaxy was learning what humans could do. And this was just the beginning. Commander Lisa scratched a mark on her wall calendar. Day 23 of the siege. Outside, the purple sky of planet Proxima 4 was filled with enemy ships. "Status report," she said, her voice rough from lack of sleep. Officer Tom, his face dirty and thin, nodded. "We have food for another week. Ammunition is low. Medical supplies." He shook his head. Lisa looked around the small command room of Proxima Base. What had started as a routine human outpost on the edge of Council space had become a battleground. 3 weeks ago, without warning, ships from the Void Coalition, a powerful group opposed to the Galactic Council, had surrounded the base. 30 humans against hundreds of Coalition soldiers. "They're coming again," announced Baker from the radar station. "Big push this time." Lisa nodded. She hadn't slept more than 2 hours at a time since the attack began. None of them had, but they were still fighting. "Get everyone to their positions," she ordered. Same plan as yesterday. On the ridge above the base, Coalition Commander Vex watched through high-powered binoculars. "These humans make no sense," he said to his second-in-command. "Their base is damaged. Their shields are failing. Yet they continue to resist." "Perhaps they don't understand they're beaten," suggested his officer. Vex shook his head. His species had 4 eyes and thick, armored skin. They were born warriors. "No, they understand. They simply refuse to accept it." He watched as his forces advanced again toward the human base. His troops were fresh, well-equipped, and outnumbered the humans 10 to 1. Today would be the end. Or so he thought. Lisa moved through the underground tunnels her team had dug during the siege. The Coalition forces didn't know about these tunnels. They didn't know how humans could work without sleep, dig through solid rock with hand tools, and still fight when the time came. "Ready?" she asked the small group with her. They nodded. Their eyes were red from lack of sleep, their bodies thin from limited food, but they held their weapons with steady hands. "Now," Lisa ordered. They emerged from hidden exits behind the Coalition forces. The surprise was complete. As Vex's troops focused on the base's front defenses, Lisa's team attacked from behind. At the same time, the remaining defenders launched their final missiles, not at the attacking troops, but at the ground in front of them, creating a wall of dust and rock that confused the Coalition soldiers' advanced vision systems. "Humans don't fight fair," one alien soldier cried as Lisa's team moved through their confused ranks. When Galactic Council reinforcements finally arrived on day 27, they expected to find ruins and bodies. Instead, they found a damaged but standing base with tired but alive human defenders, and hundreds of captured Coalition troops. Admiral Kell, leader of the relief force, met with Lisa in what remained of her office. "Impossible," he said, looking at the battle reports. "You were outnumbered, outgunned. Your people had no sleep, limited food." Lisa shrugged. "Humans are stubborn. Your casualties: 6 dead, 14 injured but stable." Admiral Kell's 4 tentacles twitched with disbelief. "And you captured the Coalition commander." Lisa nodded toward a cell where Vex sat staring at the wall. "He had questions for us. I have questions for him, like why they targeted this base specifically." Later, Vex explained. "It was a test. We needed to understand human military capabilities." His 4 eyes blinked slowly. "Now we know." "And what did you learn?" Lisa asked. Vex looked at her, at the dark circles under her eyes, at her thin frame that had somehow survived 4 weeks of siege. "That humans don't break," he said quietly. "That you keep fighting when logic says to surrender. That you change tactics, dig tunnels, set traps. That you can go without sleep or food far longer than any species we know." He leaned forward. "I learned why the Coalition should fear humans on the battlefield." Lisa smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. "Good," she said. "Spread the word." The grand meeting hall of the Galactic Council was silent. On the massive screen, another council world burned. The Void Coalition's attack had been swift and merciless. "That makes 7 systems lost in 2 weeks, said Counselor Dax, the reptilian leader. "Our standard defense plans have failed." The 12 council members looked at each other with fear. For 1,000 years, their military doctrine had kept peace. Now it was useless against the Coalition's new tactics. "We need different thinking," said the gas cloud being named Mist. All eyes turned to the human representative. General Thomas stood straight in his Earth military uniform. At 55, with gray hair and battle scars, he had fought in Earth's last great war before joining the stars. "You've resisted human military ideas for years," Thomas said. "Now you want our help." "We have no choice," admitted Dax. "Will you lead a battle group against the Coalition?" Thomas nodded once. "On one condition. I do it my way." The alien officers aboard the flagship Destiny looked at the human general with doubt. Thomas had been given command of 30 ships, the Council's last major battle group. "Your plan makes no sense," said Captain Lur, a tall blue alien. "You want us to divide our forces, to use some ships as bait." Thomas nodded. "The Coalition expects you to fight by the book. Your book, with rules you've followed for centuries. So we'll throw the book away." "Ships will be lost," argued another officer. "Crews will die." "Yes," Thomas agreed, his face hard. "That's war. We sacrifice the few to save the many." The aliens were shocked. In their warfare, minimizing casualties was the highest priority. "You speak of sacrifice as if it's normal," said Lur. "For humans, it is," replied Thomas. "Now, are you ready to learn how humans fight?" The Coalition fleet approached the Rigel system confidently. Their previous victories had been easy. The Council forces always fought the same way. But this time was different. "Enemy ships scattered throughout the system," reported a Coalition officer. "No standard formation." Coalition Commander Drex frowned. "Spring the trap. Target the nearest group." As the Coalition ships attacked the small group of Council vessels, they were suddenly hit from behind by hidden ships. When they turned to face this threat, a third group attacked from another direction. "What is this madness?" Drex shouted as his flagship shook from repeated hits. On the Destiny, Thomas watched the battle unfold. "Phase 2, he ordered. "Psychological operations." All Coalition ships suddenly received the same transmission. Images of their previous victories, but reversed, showing their ships exploding instead. Along with the images came a simple message in all Coalition languages. "You taught us how to beat you." The Coalition commanders, confused by the strange tactics and message, hesitated. In that moment, Thomas launched his main attack. When it was over, the Coalition had lost half their fleet. They retreated in disarray. In the Council emergency session afterward, Thomas stood before the alien leaders. "One victory doesn't win a war," he warned them. "The Coalition will adapt." "How did you defeat them?" asked Counselor Mist. "Asymmetric warfare, psychological operations, sacrifice." Thomas pointed to the battle reports. "Concepts humans have used for thousands of years." Dax looked troubled. "Many ships were lost, but the Rigel system and its billions of people were saved," Thomas countered. "This is how humans think in war. Sometimes the cost is high, but the alternative is losing everything." The Council members looked at each other nervously. They had gotten what they wanted, a victory. But the human way of war disturbed them deeply. "Is this why Earth had so many wars?" asked another counselor. "Because you think like this?" Thomas smiled grimly. "No, we had wars because all humans think like this. That's why the galaxy should fear us on the battlefield, and why you should be glad we're on your side." Dr. Kate stood in front of the large observation window, watching alien soldiers train alongside humans. 6 months into the Void War, more humans had joined the Council forces. The training field below showed the differences clearly. Aliens moved in perfect formation, while humans adapted to each new challenge with different approaches. Fascinating, isn't it? asked Dr. Len, a tall, thin alien scientist with pale blue skin. Kate nodded. As the lead researcher on the Council's new human combat integration project, she had been studying why humans perform so well in battle. "Have you finished your report?" Len asked. "Yes," Kate replied. "But the Council won't like what I found." The Council chamber fell silent as Kate finished her presentation. The 12 alien leaders looked at each other with concern. To summarize, Kate said, humans are effective warriors for 3 main reasons. First, our evolutionary history as persistence predators. Unlike most Council species who evolved from ambush hunters or peaceful gatherers, humans evolved to chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. She changed the display to show human brain scans. Second, our unique psychology. Humans can compartmentalize trauma, allowing us to function despite injuries or emotional distress. We form strong bonds through shared hardship, making human units exceptionally cohesive under pressure. Counselor Dax shifted uncomfortably. And the third reason, our cultural relationship with conflict, Kate explained. While Council species developed standardized, clean approaches to warfare, human history is filled with messy, chaotic conflicts. We've developed thousands of different fighting styles, tactics, and strategies. When one fails, we try another. Mist, the gas cloud being, floated forward. In other words, humans were built for war. No, Kate corrected. We were built to survive. War is just one survival challenge we've faced repeatedly. Dax looked troubled. Your report suggests humans can withstand conditions that would break most species, that you can keep fighting when logically you should stop. Yes, Kate agreed, which is why the Coalition fears us. Perhaps we should fear you too, said another counselor. Later, in a small meeting room, a group of Council military leaders reviewed Kate's findings. Can we trust humans with more command positions? Asked Admiral Vox. Their methods are effective but unpredictable. The war goes poorly in sectors without human advisors, replied General Tull, the same commander who had once doubted Lieutenant Mark years ago. But look at these psychological profiles, argued Captain Zur. Humans can switch from peaceful to aggressive in moments. They can rationalize violence in ways our species cannot. Kate, who had been invited to observe, finally spoke up. You're missing the point. Yes, humans can be dangerous, but we direct that capacity toward protecting what we value. Right now, that includes you. On the bridge of the battleship Horizon, Human Commander Jack listened as his alien crew reported on enemy movements. They're using our own tactics against us now, said First Officer Penn, a member of a beetle-like species. They've studied General Thomas's methods. Jack smiled. Good. That means they're predictable. How is that good? Penn asked, confused. Because humans never use the same approach twice, Jack explained. The moment the enemy thinks they understand us, we change the rules. He turned to the tactical display. New plan. They expect us to be aggressive, so we'll be patient. They expect tricks, so we'll be straightforward. The alien officers looked at each other with uncertainty. Trust me, Jack said confidently. The Coalition is learning to fight like humans from 6 months ago, but we're already something different. Penn's mandibles clicked in what had become the alien equivalent of a nervous laugh. This is why my people tell their children stories about humans now, he said quietly. Not to frighten them, but to remind them. Never think you understand a human, especially in battle. Jack just smiled and began outlining his new strategy, one the enemy would never expect. Colonel Alex checked his equipment one final time. Around him, 6 alien soldiers did the same, each from a different species. They were deep in enemy space, preparing for the most dangerous mission of the war. Everyone clear on the plan? Alex asked. The aliens nodded. 2 years into the Void War, mixed species teams had become common, with humans often leading the most difficult missions. Target is the Coalition's main weapons factory, Alex continued. We destroy it. We cut their supply of new ships by half. Gar, a rock-skinned alien, rumbled. The factory has 5,000 workers and guards. We are 8. Alex grinned. Good odds for humans. The team's shuttle dropped them 10 miles from the target. They would approach on foot to avoid detection. As they moved through the dense purple forest, Alex noticed the aliens watching him closely. Something wrong? He asked Kina, a fast-moving insect-like soldier. You seem happy, Kina said. We go toward death, yet you smile. Alex shrugged. Humans perform best under pressure. The impossible missions are the most satisfying to complete. Kina's antennae twitched. This is why the Coalition fears humans. You enjoy the challenge of death. Halfway to the target, everything went wrong. Coalition patrols discovered their presence. The forest filled with enemy soldiers. Split up. Alex ordered as laser fire cut through the trees. Meet at checkpoint 2. The team scattered in different directions. Alex found himself alone, cut off from the others, with 3 Coalition soldiers closing in. He had limited ammunition and no backup. To the Coalition soldiers' surprise, instead of hiding, Alex attacked. He moved quickly between trees, firing precisely, taking down all 3 before they could call for help. As he caught his breath, Alex's communication device crackled. Colonel, this is Lux. Came the voice of the team's light-based alien member. I am trapped. Enemy forces surround me. Hold position. Alex replied. I'm coming. One by one, Alex found and rescued his scattered team. Each time, he faced impossible odds. Each time, he prevailed through a combination of quick thinking and actions that his alien teammates considered borderline suicidal. How did you know that jumping from that cliff would work? Asked Tur, a winged team member, after Alex had leaped 50 feet down to ambush enemies below. I didn't, Alex admitted. But standing still meant certain death. Humans prefer uncertain survival to certain death. By nightfall, Alex had reassembled his team in a cave near the weapon factory. All were injured. Their equipment was damaged. The mission seemed impossible now. We must call for extraction, suggested Gar. Try again another day. Alex shook his head. The Coalition will increase security after today. This is our only chance. He laid out a new plan, even more dangerous than the first. The aliens looked at him with disbelief. You cannot be serious, said Kina. The probability of success is nearly 0. Nearly 0 isn't 0, Alex replied with a smile. And humans have been beating the odds since we first left our caves. The explosion lit up the night sky as the Coalition's massive weapons factory collapsed in flames. From a hillside 5 miles away, Alex and his team watched. I still don't understand how it worked, said Lux, his light body flickering with exhaustion. Humans call it improvisation. Alex explained. When the original plan fails, we make a new one. Then another. We keep adapting until we succeed or die trying. As they waited for extraction, Alex noticed his alien teammates looking at him differently now. With a mixture of fear, respect, and something else, understanding. I will tell my children about this day, said Gar quietly, about the human who refused to accept defeat, who found a way when there was no way. Alex nodded. That's not just me. That's all humans. It's who we are. The rescue ship appeared in the sky above them. The team had succeeded against impossible odds, and the galaxy would soon hear why. The Grand Peace Hall on neutral planet Nexus was filled with tension. After 3 years of brutal war, the Void Coalition had finally requested peace talks. On one side of the massive marble table sat the Coalition leaders. On the other, the Galactic Council representatives. And at the center, representing Earth, stood Ambassador Robert. We thank all parties for coming, said the Nexus mediator, a member of an ancient neutral species. Today we hope to end the bloodshed that has cost millions of lives. Robert studied the Coalition delegation. Their leader, Supreme Commander Draz, looked directly at the human with 4 eyes that showed no emotion but couldn't hide his fear. The coalition is prepared to withdraw from all occupied territories, Draz began, to pay reparations for damage caused, to sign a lasting peace treaty. The council members exchanged surprised looks. These terms were better than expected. But Draz continued, his voice hardening. We have one non-negotiable condition. Here it comes, thought Robert. Restrictions must be placed on human military involvement in galactic affairs, Draz stated. Humans must be contained. The hall erupted in voices. Council members argued among themselves. Some agreed with the coalition. Others defended their human allies. Robert waited for silence before speaking. May I ask why you fear us so much, Commander Draz? He asked quietly. Draz stood, his tall frame towering over the table. Because in 3 years, humans changed the nature of warfare in our galaxy. For 10,000 years, we fought by rules. Clean, predictable. Then humans arrived. He activated a holographic display showing battle footage. Human soldiers continuing to fight despite severe injuries. Human commanders using tactics no alien would consider. Human ships making sacrifices to win larger victories. The evidence is clear, Draz concluded. Humans are too dangerous to be unleashed on the battlefield. You don't fight like civilized beings. You fight to win, at any cost. Robert nodded slowly. We fight to protect what we value. And that, Draz said, is why the galaxy should fear you. Today you value the council. Tomorrow, who knows? The debates lasted 3 days. Robert listened as the galaxy argued about humans. Some council members agreed with the coalition, fearing human potential. Others defended Earth, pointing to the victories humans had brought them. On the final day, Robert presented Earth's position. We understand your fear, he told the gathered delegates. Humans are newcomers to your galaxy. Our ways seem strange and frightening. But consider this. In the 3 years of war, has any human force attacked civilian targets? Have we sought revenge? Conquest? The room was silent. We fight fiercely, yes, but always with purpose, always with limits. We are not the monsters you fear. Counselor Dax, who had first met humans years ago during that fateful first contact, spoke up. What do you propose, Ambassador? Robert outlined a compromise. A new galactic defense force with humans serving as elite units under joint command. Human military technology would be shared, but with oversight. Human tactics would be taught to all species, creating balance. We will be your sword when needed, Robert concluded, and your shield always. But we must be treated as equals, not as weapons to be locked away when not in use. 1 month later, the peace treaty was signed. The war was over. In a quiet corner of the celebration, 2 veteran alien commanders, 1 council, 1 former coalition, shared a drink. Do you think it will last? Asked the coalition veteran. This peace with humans among us. The council commander considered the question. I have fought beside them and against them. Humans are dangerous, yes, but they are dangerous in the way a powerful storm is dangerous. Destructive when provoked, yet capable of great restraint. I still fear them, admitted the coalition soldier. As do I, agreed the council commander. But I've learned something important about humans. What's that? They fight hardest for those they consider family. The commander watched as human delegates mingled with aliens from across the galaxy, and their family now includes us all. The coalition veteran nodded slowly. Then let us hope they never have reason to fight again. But if war comes, finished the council commander, raising his glass, pray they're on your side.